Is match angling a young man's game? That is today's talking point. That is today's discussion topic, Robert. This is a really interesting one for me because I don't mind telling people how old I am, Rob. I'm 40 years old and I'm going to say I'm in the middle. I'm not a older angler. I'm not a younger angler. I'm in the middle. And as you're sort of getting older, things change. And I remember saying to a few good friends of mine, Matt and Frankie, who are 10 years younger than me, 8 years younger than me, up until I was 30, I think I could remember every single match I'd ever fished. I think I could remember every single match. I reckon I could recite what I'd learned from all those experiences, because as a proportion of my life, it was obviously smaller. And it was almost like from 30, I was like, things would happen and they go, can you remember that? And I go, yeah, no, I can't remember what I weighed there. Couldn't remember what I weighed, couldn't remember what I had, and I was like, that's all a bit bizarre. I mean, not stupidly, but like everything, because you fished 500 matches, now you fished 1,200 matches, obviously things become blurred. And that's why I think you always remember things that happen earlier in your life more than you happen later.
Are you thinking that having youth on your side is better, not because of the physical aspects that you've got, but because you can quickly draw on that information?
We'll cover that. It will cover the physical aspects.
That's if being younger is better, by the way.
Absolutely, which I'm not going to say is not. But let's give you a scenario. When you were 20 and you were match fishing, right, and you were enjoying your match fishing, where did you learn everything that you'd done?
I learned, my sort of angling journey was, I'd learned a lot in magazines, reading magazines, but then I had maybe 2 waters that I would go to, and that was where I fished. My 2 local commercial fisheries. Obviously, I'd done all of my teenage years on natural venues, and then I got to the age of 20 and this commercial fishery boom started. So I focused on these 2 sort of like commercial fisheries.
So you've learned your skills by being self-taught, and a couple of the guys who fish these local fisheries.
That's it, yeah.
Right, and a bit of reading, right? Well, that's great, and that makes you a good angler. People would have said to you when you're 20, cool, when you get a bit of experience in certain situations under your belt, you're going to be amazing, right? So the things I learned in my late teens and early 20s about match fishing, about reading scenarios, I still recall them now when we go and fish the drains for the Winter League final.
Right, okay.
I recall my hot rods experience and I go, right, lads, we're not feeding it right because we're not doing this, this, this and this, right? Whereas these days, if I'm 20, I've got 1 million hours worth of footage to watch and learn. So it's almost like playing...
And the benefit of your elder anglers doing that groundwork, because I think when we were, especially with commercials that were just starting, no one was fishing commercials full stop.
No.
But also there was this evolution of tackle and bait that has almost, the curve has flattened a little bit. So 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was all new. You know, we had a 60-metre pole when people before us probably only had 12-metre poles.
Absolutely,
and it was all becoming new.
Your float wouldn't be... So if you had a float, you can guarantee you'd have to adapt it.
Yeah.
I used to use an old Drennan one with a cane. I'm sure they won't mind me saying. They looked beautiful, but they would just fall to pieces because it was a balsa, you know, it wasn't varnished, it wasn't all the rest of it. So now I've got a Dura Eye on my thick bristle with my brilliant wire, glass fibre stem.
So it's the knowledge to use the kit that's being transferred rather than the kit as well now. So those videos and the knowledge that is passed down through maybe just an older angler in your team or who you mix with, you haven't got to mess around with the kit, you just need the knowledge from that person. So it's a bit of a faster track, isn't it?
Absolutely. And also,
if you love your fishing and you love your fishing videos and you want to get better at fishing, there are 2 places where you can watch all the detailed fishing videos we produce. First of all, the website, www.anglingedge.co.uk. Masses of detail in these videos. You get, when you sign up, all of the new videos and all of the old videos. There's a method, a tactic, a venue for everybody there. Plus, you now get all of that content on YouTube. You can join, click that button just there, join our membership. There you get all the same content, all those new videos, all those old videos. You'll learn loads because along the journey, we've learned loads too.
If you focus on one area of fishing, the experiences within that environment, you learn quickly because it's all very similar. And I also believe that they're catching a lot of fish. Now, I always remember my first 5 fishing trips, I think I caught 3 fish. So like, it took me 5 trips to catch 3 fish. You know, that's like where we were at when we were fishing. And now there's a lot of fish to catch. There's a lot of ways of fishing. And I took my son fishing just the other day, and we fished hard pellets on a top kit.
He catches 3 fish in his first 3 minutes.
Right, throw your pellets in, and I can almost feel like I reckon if I took him 10 times, I could have him as good hard pellet fishing as
on a top kit.
As he could be. And because he's going to catch a few fish every time, get better at playing, and blah blah blah.
The difference comes though, Lee. Use your son as an example, and you're saying he can be as good as hard pellet fishing as he can be when all the other variations come in.
Yep.
So what happens when that slight bit of ripple gets up, or what happens when it goes flat calm? What happens when he needs to feed 2 pellets every 30 seconds instead of 10 pellets every 2 minutes? All those things that you need to almost learn yourself. So I've got this thing where, and we have a few jokes, me and a few of my mates, that we have your anglers that have sort of learnt it themselves.
Yeah.
And then the anglers that have maybe learned almost everything through knowledge from other people. And I even call one of my mates, I call him a sat-nav angler, taking the mick out of him, saying he knows how to get to the destination because he's got a sat-nav, i.e. the knowledge from everyone else.
Yeah, and he'll still get there.
But if his sat-nav gets turned off, or he hasn't got a sat-nav that day, he might struggle.
Yeah.
So I think there is a little bit of that. You've still got to go out there and learn it for yourself, as well as using all this other information.
So is there a curve with a younger angler? And there's some amazing, amazing young anglers. And I consider a young angler anyone probably under 25, I think we're talking about.
Oh, wow,
here.
I was saying like under 35.
I'm going to say under 25 in terms of really young anglers.
No, I was putting your... Yeah, I mean, I don't know how old your Andy Bennett's are or how...
Same age as us.
Are they 40? Obviously, I'm going to say...
I'm not having Andy Bennett as a young angler. I love Andy.
I'm going to have under 40 as a young angler.
I'm not. See, I think, well, in which case then, that's my perception of fishing. I think fishing has changed. I think effectively you've got this group of certainly 20s, anglers in their 20s and younger. And when you're 16, 17, 18, and I've taken a lot of these guys fishing, Talent Pathway, things like that, and you can see that they can physically do it, but they've got the sat-nav on. And then it gets to the point where they don't need the sat-nav anymore, right? And there's this curve. And now you've got a elite bunch of guys. Let's talk about the last 2 Fishermania winners. Matty Dawes. I've got Matty pegged about 25, I think.
Could be way off, couldn't we, with it?
Could be. Matty, sorry if you... But he's definitely in his 20s, right?
Okay.
But Christian,
he's under my 40-year-old.
I know that Christian is about 21, right? 22, something like that. At 20, he's not even that old. And he won the year before, so he'd have been a year younger. Exceptional angler. Jordan Holloway, 22. I think Jordan might have said a flippant comment to me a few years ago where he said something about, I'll be 25 by then. And I sort of laughed at him.
What, as if he was ancient?
As if he would have been past it over the hill. But he's a brilliant. I wouldn't want to be next to Jordan anywhere. There's loads of them, Rob, and I've got a lot of respect for those guys and what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, I still think, and I hope this person's not going to mind me saying this, because I believe I watch him compete a lot. Steve Openshaw, seen him qualify for multiple big finals many times, and on the same year, and he's a brilliant angler, and he's older than us. And one of our friends, Simon Fry, won Match This last year. So you had Christian Jones, who was in that final, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Christian Jones, who won Fishermania, but was in the Match This final and didn't catch as much in that day. And Simon Fry, who is in his 50s, used all his experience and said to us, I was going to pack up with an hour to go and had a great last hour and won it. So is fishing a young man's game?
I tell you what, I think the hunger when you're younger.
Doesn't that come with life?
It does, yeah, it does. But I think, you know, when you're young and you're keen and you want to learn all these new skills and you want to go and compete and you want to, you get to a certain position, and someone like, we use Simon Fry as an example. Simon Fry's won quite a lot of big competitions.
A lot.
It'd be quite easy for Simon Fry to go, you know what, I feel like I've done a lot here, and then take his foot off the gas for the. Once he gets over, you know, over the age of whatever.
Yeah, but I think everybody takes their foot off. The thing with fishing is, it's not like football where by the time you get to mid-30s, you're not at your same elite level. I'd say when you get into your mid-30s, well, you know, let's put it like this, Rob. Your results on the world stage, amazing. Your early 40s. Steve Ringer, early 40s. Now, you know, the feeder team, Adam Wakeling, myself, 40. You know, the other guys, just 50. So we're in a bracket of 10 years. You look at the feeder float team, Matt Godfrey, James Dent, early 30s. Will Raisin in his 40s. They are these guys who have got a lot of experience at a lot of situations are still the elite level. And of course, Jamie Hughes, Andy Power, Andy Bennett, they are again at the similar age to us.
Well, you're on a commercial fishery, the age of the guys winning regular, in general, is a little bit lower.
I agree.
You've still got your Steve Openshaws, you've still got your Alan Scotthorns, Going Lindholm is still
Alan Scotthorne, brilliant
doing
example.
fantastic. Yeah. But the age in general is a little bit younger. I don't know whether that's because fishing has got a bit more physical now, it's a lot faster, I don't know what it is, but the age is a little bit younger. It was brought home to me in a Part D Masters final, probably one of my last times that I visited Whiteacres actually, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And they call out all the 24 finalists, and I looked around and I thought, bloody hell, these are young. And I'd been saying to, Tommy was actually doing because it was back in the Maver days, Tommy was actually doing the call-outs, he was doing the presentation on the evening. And I'd always said to Tommy, look, it's a young man's game. And obviously I'd always rib him, it's a young man's game, TP, forget it, it's a young man's game. And he looked at the finalists and he said to me when everyone was on the stage, because I was in the final, as you come off the stage, you went, you're right, pal, look at them. And it was like, it seemed like everyone was under the age of 30.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to say, I believe you're looking at, you probably, if you looked at the core, you could say 30 to 50 is a peak.
I was going to say 30 to 50 is the peak.
But there's some amazing anglers. I went fishing with Alan Scott on yesterday, who won't mind me saying that he's in his 60s, and he is he is still an unbelievable angler. But we are talking about the core of the anglers and the core of people in that age group. But I always remember this, in Barnsley, we had Alan Scotthorne and Jordan Holloway as our only section winners in the Winter League final. And he was the youngest and the oldest. So is it a young man's game? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, would I love to be 25 again? Absolutely.
Like everyone would say, I'd love to be younger, but with the knowledge that we've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the experience that goes with it. So I think one thing I would say is, younger guys, watch out. All the older guys will always be gunning for you. I'll tell you now. And I'll
tell you what.
Vice versa.
To finish, let us know below, because I'd love to know. Obviously, if you've got a young angler ripping it up on your local scene, let us know. But likewise, if you've got someone who's slightly older taking it apart, and if you think you're wrong there, lads, I know someone who's 70 and they're ripping it up on our local
Dennis
scene.
White still loves to do that.
Dennis White still loves to do that. Let us know below. Get involved. I think it's a great little topic. I'm going to go and eat healthy. Drink nothing, but yeah, I know.
That'd be fantastic.